would you want to do that for us? I mean, having you as president of this country would be such a delight.
I'm almost 70.
Yes.
And
you're probably one of the youngest. Which is 75-year-old president.
I know.
Yeah.
And 80-something.
And 80-something-year-old.
I think it's in Tunisia.
Yes. So
he's very strong. So I need strength. You
have strength.
I do. I need strength. I need more strength. Will you be my campaign manager?
Please. I will. Auntie Joyce, how come you've never, ever thought of running for president for this country?
You know, I've asked myself a number of questions in that regard. And, the most plausible, I guess, is that, how shall I put it? Democracy is good. You need special grace to want to be the head of state. I think it's a calling. And I don't feel that calling yet. I think I'll make a good number 3 or number 1, or send me to do some work and I'll do it excellently. Yeah. But I haven't felt that I need to be at the forefront and say, vote for me. I'm going to build an airport on Lake Akosombo or something like that. Because sometimes, honestly, the way we ask people to vote for them, I mean, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart, and I
it
really,
appears very cheap sometimes.
Oh, it is worse than cheap. It's worse than cheap. And it breaks my heart. I really could not go out there and promise something that I know is not deliverable.
So you find these campaigns sometimes ridiculous.
Sometimes insulting. Not even ridiculous. Insulting.
For instance?
Because, if, for example, you are in an area where there's a lot of illegal mining and you don't face the situation head on by saying that, look, this kind of mining is illegal. Because it is illegal, it is unregulated. Because it is unregulated, you are destroying the environment without even putting anything back, and so on and so forth. But to actually say, well, I need their vote, so to say that, as for me, when I come, I'll make sure that your activity is regularized, which is wrong, because the law allows legal small-scale mining. The law allows it. And so to say you want to regularize an illegality is distressing. And you're saying it because you think there are lots of them and they will vote for you. I think it's distressing, Or to give the impression that, I'm for you, your interests are my interests. So I'm going to be there for you. And then they wake up and they want their school fees paid by you. They want their hospital bills paid by you. They are going to have pojemo. You have to come and sit in there.
Funerals.
There's a funeral. You have to go. And if you give 100 CDs, that day you have 5 funerals. And if you give 100 CDs, they think you're mean. And they look down on you. But 5 funerals, 500, say, where are you going to get the money from? So I think that we should really change the tactics for wanting people to vote for us.
It will take a long time.
I'm not so sure, because, we are not stupid. Yeah. We're not stupid. I think we need to let people know that democracy is about us together, but because all of us can't go there, you giving me your mandate to go and stand on your behalf because you believe that I'll be able to represent you. Yeah. But what am I going to represent you for? So that there will be development. Because when it comes to real development, as an MP, I am not the one who brings development. It's the district.
But that's what they tell them.
Yeah.
The electorate.
Yes. Yeah. And then not to give the impression that I have answers for everything. Because we have to really build. And that's why having a political party is good. Because you build with people of like mind. don't tell them that, oh, when I come into power, you will all get jobs. It's not possible. It's not possible to give jobs to everybody. But you can create situations where you, the government, or you, the MP, is not going to be, or you, the, what do they call them? The assemblyman, is not going to be the person who's going to give them the jobs. But to govern in such a way that conditions will be conducive for jobs to be created, you know. So I think that these are some of the things that we need to be talking about.
I think democracy was the right way to go.
You know, of all the ways of running countries, I think it is one of the best. Okay. You know, but you really need an informed electorate. People who can discern, people who can decide, because democracy is about choices. It's about choices. And democracy should be about issues, so that I can make a choice if I think that the way Nana Aba is presenting the issues, not because Nana Aba is glib, you know, but in terms of even Nana Aba's track record and what she has accomplished, I think she will keep her word. Sometimes, of course, you get a very young person who's never worked before, but if in school, even in JHS and so on, the person seems to be very active, volunteering to do things, bringing people together and so on, at least there's a track record where you know that this person will be able to achieve. You know, so it should really be about issues. And I find it very insulting when politicians go and give, you know, half a lonka of rice and, you know, one margarine tin of beans.
They've actually moved on. Recently, I hear they're giving out TV sets, you know, flat screen.
Which means they're stealing. How do you go and get TV sets? But they're expensive. So where I know no politician does politics with his own money. That one we have to understand. Because if you have to do it with your own money, then it means really you don't have anybody who believes in you. So doing politics means having people believe in you and what you can offer, for them to invest in what you're doing, not because they want anything in return.
But some of these politicians are your friends. Do you
all of them are my friends.
All of them. Of course, they all say that, oh, Auntie Joyce is our mother.
Yes.
Especially the
when I see them, I tell them what I think.
Because I've seen you a number of times actually speak to some of the politicians who come on my show. Okay?
Yes.
You know, you give them a word. What do you usually tell them? Is it the way of communicating that irks you sometimes? Well,
it is the posture of, I am right. My party is right. My party is right. Your party is wrong. I don't think it helps us. Because if there's an issue on the table, you know, there's nothing wrong in saying that, well, we could do this better. You know, there's nothing wrong in saying, yes, we realize this and we could do it better. And it's not always good to say, oh, but when you were in power, you did this. And when you were in power, you did that is not
it's the order
issue.
Of the day.
It is not right, because the rest of us out there, we want to learn. We want to do things right. So if you come and all you're going to do is to just, you know, just like a ping pong, you know, throw back and I throw back and so on, then you really are not helping anyone. And least of all your own party. Least of all your own party, because every party wants their best foot forward. That's what you should do. Put your party's best foot forward. And it is not about being on the defensive. And it is not only about criticizing. I would like critiquing, you know, because, you know, the wonderful thing about our traditions, Naba, is that we ourselves say, and in all our languages, that the one who is charting the path or cutting the path does not know that it's crooked behind him or her. Which means we recognize that we get criticized. Somebody has to critique what we're doing so that we'll do it well. Because after all, if you're cutting the path, you don't want a crooked path. You want a straight path, you know. So somebody coming behind you is the only person who would say, Auntie Joyce, this thing is not going well. Now, the issue is not even how the person says it, because some people are abrasive in their communication. Some people are discourteous in their communication. But the major thing is, if I know that I am cutting the path and I cannot look behind, I don't have eyes behind me, and so I can't see how straight it is, then even if it hurts for somebody to put it in an insulting way to me, I should say thank you and then turn back and see how I can right the wrongs. So if we have this in our traditions, why are we so angry? Why are we so defensive when we are criticized? You know, let's go back to some of the things we know are right and recognize that the thing about democracy is also its competitiveness. You know, it's like, well, I want to come where you are too. So I need to find holes in what you're doing so that I can build them up and so on. Because after all, the previous time, that's what happened. You know, so it shouldn't surprise you that it's just the way we do it. We shouldn't just criticize for its own sake. You know, I mean, we should also speak the truth in criticizing. And we who are criticized should accept the truth when we are criticized.
Okay. You know,
but that's not what we came here to talk about. You haven't uncovered anything.
I'm coming. I'm getting to it.
You're warming up.
Yeah, I'm like a man diesel. You were associated with the PNDC.
Yes.
For, you said 8.5 years.
8.5 years.
What happened? You were not interested in NDC 1, NDC 2.
No, I wasn't even in one.
Yeah, but you were not. Why? Why didn't you take up any interest?
After a while, I just sensed this strong sense that God wanted me to do something else. Wanted me to be more active in sharing the word, and I wasn't.
Have you always been religious?
Right now, I don't even call myself religious.
What are you?
I call myself a child of God.
Oh.
You know, that's different because religion means I am making an effort to get to God.
But now you're...
Being a child of God means God has found me.
Yeah.
You know, anyway. So, and you know, there were cliquisms and this, and honestly, I couldn't live with it. You know.
You are such a strong woman. That shouldn't be.
But funny enough, you know, I didn't even know that there were cliques and that when you were given a job, you had to go and pay homage and
pay homage?
Yeah, you know.
Homage to who?
You know. So there I was strong, but I was by myself. You know, I mean, I was just going, thinking that I was doing what was right and so on.
Are you still close with the Rollinses?
As close as can be, I would say. As close as can be.
What does that mean?
Oh, no, I mean, we are not at loggerheads. You know, I've never been one who's good at visiting, you know, visiting friends and even family. You know, my sister lives in Kaneshie. When I visit her, it's a hello and goodbye, you know, things like that. So that's how I'll put it. But we would stop and chat when we meet, you know. Nanaba, I haven't visited you, and you haven't visited me. Yeah. But when we meet in the street, who would ever say that we are not close? Yeah. Everybody will say, oh, Nanaba is always in Auntie Joyce's house.
That's true.
You know, so that's what I'm talking about.
So then you took up the calling?
Yes. Well, let me, now that you want to uncover, you know, I wrote a resignation, but it was not accepted. Oh, it wasn't accepted. At that time, you know, Chairman Rollins accepted your resignation when he wanted. If he didn't want it, he wouldn't take it.
Do you like his style?
Not always. And I told him, it's not that, you know, I'm sitting here and saying this, you know. I mean, I would tell him that, oh, I think you can do something like that, you know. He used to talk about psyops, you know, being a soldier. He believed in psychological operations. So sometimes you created a certain situation, you know, which would give you advantage and so on and so forth. He certainly was good at bringing people together to work for him. That one, you can't fault him on that. You cannot fault him on that. He was good, which makes him a good leader, you know, because a good leader is someone who harnesses the good qualities and leadership skills of others for advantage. I think it was one of these Motofi, was it? One of the fourth, who said that he's successful only because he's been able to find people who are smarter than him to work for him, work with him. So that is the situation. But I wrote a resignation, and it wasn't accepted. And so I went on leave, and whilst I was on leave, also wrote again that I wasn't too well, so I wasn't coming back. So I was written to I should come back for my own good, but I didn't come back. So in January 92, when Chairman Rawlings was doing, a reshuffle, there was one sentence, and Joyce Aryee has been relieved of her post for, what word did they use? When you go away and you don't give permission, I've forgotten the exact word. But
you went away without permission.
I want a wall. So that one sentence. So a lot of people didn't read it. It was January 92. So a lot of people didn't read it. So didn't even know that I was no longer a part of it.
Right.
That came in January, but I came back in June that year. And then I started training with the Great Commission movement, training to be an evangelist and so on and so on.
So at what point did you establish Salt and Light?
97.
And it's growing.
Well, it's growing because I think it's impactful. People think, some people call me General Overseer. They call me President and so on. But Salt and Light really is a supporting ministry, in the sense that it's not a church, it's not even a fellowship. The reason is simple. It's Jesus who says that anyone who has believed in him is salt. Think of the many people who have believed in him. How am I going to gather all of them together? So my duty is to let everybody know that, this is what Jesus says. So if you are salt, you are extremely influential. Can you imagine? It's extremely influential. Wherever you go, you change the place for good. Yes. You are extremely influential.
Salt and light.
Yes, salt. You are extremely influential. Remember, when there's no salt in food, who wants to eat it? Blah.
Yeah.
And frankly,
the food must taste good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we should know that our presence in this country should change the country into something good. And the beauty about salt, or maybe its downside, is that you don't get seen. You permeate, you dissolve.
That's true.
You dissolve, but you affect every single thing that is in the stew or soup.
That's true.
Tomatoes, onions, meat, fish, everything. So your influence permeates everything.
That's very true. Salt and light.
Yes.
And it's not a church. One time I had an argument with a friend, and I said, no, I don't think it's a church. He said,
It's not a church. It is not a church.
All right, so it is not a church.
It's not a church. It's not even a fellowship.
I have to pass the message on to my friend. Now, let's talk about your personal life.
Yes.
Marriage.
Oh, I didn't do too well in
you
those
tried
areas
twice.
And failed both times.
My interest is with Dr. Rekubobi.
Why are you interested in him?
Well, you were married to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you should be interested in my first husband too.
That's true, but he's not as popular as Dr. Rekubobi. You're in love with Dr. Rekubobi, weren't you?
I guess so. If I was really in love, would the marriage have broken?
But why? Why did you marry him if you were not in love?
True. But do we always marry because of love?
I've never been married, so I don't know.
Yeah.
If we marry for love.
Yeah.
Why did you divorce Dr. Rekubobi?
He divorced me.
What did you do?
I wonder.
You've never asked?
I wonder. When he sees me, you know what he says?
No.
He said, the other day I met him. Hey, Charles, listen carefully. I'm speaking about you. And what's his wife's name? Tell your wife to also come and listen, because I'm talking about both of you. I met him at a funeral and I said, oh, hello, Mikuno Dada. He said, say current. Say current,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess.
How long were you married to?
About 6.5 years.
And you broke up.
He left me.
You must have done something. Or is it that he found somebody better?
Maybe.
You've never bothered to find out?
Maybe. Well, you know, I think that maybe what he was expecting.
Were you too busy for him?
I couldn't have been.
Too
I wasn't working. I wasn't working. I wasn't working. For the time.
Did it hurt you?
Oh, physically or anything like that? No.
Physically, mentally.
Oh, I mean, there are always emotional problems in every marriage, because the two people are never the same.
Yeah.
So, and maybe he didn't find me a suitable first lady material. Maybe I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the two of us should sit down.
But
on the divorce papers, what did he say? I think he said we were not compatible.
And
that's what he said.
Did you feel same?
Well, I knew, for example, that there were certain things that I loved things of church, and I felt very strongly about that, and he was wishy-washy about those things. I mean, he wouldn't mind at all if for about a month he hasn't gone to church. He wouldn't mind.
Okay.
And I would feel that I can't break my love relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. I think one of the things he said was that Bible.
So you're probably not doing certain things.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you've since not gone into any relationship?
No.
You're not dating at the moment?
No.
Why?
I don't want to.
Somebody asked me yesterday, please ask her how she was able to put up with Dr. Rekuprobe.
Oh, that's a mean question.
Well.
Very mean question.
Yeah.
And I'm not answering that. Whoever asked that question, I'm not answering that.
The person is watching, actually.
Yeah. I'm not answering that because you know something. Once you marry somebody, think of the intimacy that takes place. Why would you want to stand outside and say nasty things about
But did you enjoy that intimacy with him?
For a while.
For a while. In the 6 years, so maybe 1 year.
Oh, no.
And you have kids with him?
Oh, no. At the time we married, what time? We married in 95? I was 49.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't have had children.
But you do have children?
I have a son.
A son. Benny talks about him all the time.
Yeah, they're great friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have a grandchild?
I have 3 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my son and my daughter have been busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They must adore you.
Well, I hope they do.
I'm sure they do.
Because I adore them. I adore them, so they'd better adore me too.
Okay. I'm stealing 1 minute of the next segment. What's your favorite food, Auntie Joyce?
That's always a difficult question, but off the top of my head, okra soup, Ever style or northern style with very, very soft banku.
So you must love toza for that.
I do.
Yeah, it's really soft. I had some yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. And your hobbies?
Reading.
I knew you would say reading.
Reading.
Yeah. And you have a penchant for correcting people.
I know.
Have I mispronounced any word here?
Not yet.
Okay. Your favorite color?
I only do that so that we will all be good at what we do.
I love it. Yeah.
My favorite color is red, but it is so strong I don't use it often.
Okay.
People say I like green, and I tend to believe it because I think anytime I see something with green in it, I get attracted. Yes.
Nice. Very interesting. Anyway, the sports segment is next. Do you like sports at all?
After the event, for example, I would never have the heart to watch football. I get too involved.
Yeah.
I don't get to, but I like to listen to the results afterwards.
Afterwards,
yes.
I wouldn't have thought. Anyway, and
you mean we're through with the interview?
Yes.
1 hour is here?
Yes.
I knew. You haven't got anywhere.
I know.
I'm still wearing my clothes. So you'd better arrange for another.
I will.
And this time really uncover me.
I will. And you're 70?
Next year.
Next year. So
yes,
there's a
March.
big party coming up.
There will be a wonderful Thanksgiving
choral
concert Of course.
Okay.
Thanksgiving choral concert.
Wonderful. But remember that the seminar is taking place on the 19th of August at Sun Lodge in Tesano. It's only 100 Ghana cedis. Only 100 Ghana cedis. The theme, transparency and anti-corruption, a personal commitment. So for all of us who love to point fingers at other people for being too corrupt or practicing, things that are so terrible, we like to blame others and not ourselves. Well, we should be part of this one. I definitely will be there. 100 Ghana cedis.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Only. All right. Afre, I'm coming to you for sports, and I'm sure you've met Auntie Joyce before. If you haven't, well, be ready to take your selfie.
I haven't met her before, but it is great to see you on cover here today. She said that you haven't done all, so you need to.
I know, there's so much. I haven't covered everything here.
And I like your beard.
Auntie Joyce, he won't go to the barber for the next 1 month because you said it.